All right, let's talk about EBT. Here's the SNAP, maybe shut off for the month of November. Okay. I have a different opinion than a lot of people. Okay, we're in this pickle because our population has become domesticated. Not just domesticated, but infantilized. For example, let's say you have a cat. You adopt a cat, when it's a kitten, you raise it on kibble and canned food, and then, something like 12 weeks, you get it neutered or spayed, and it's like an infant for the rest of its life. Yeah, the body gets older, but it's infantile. And like if there's a mouse in the house, yeah, it might go play with it a bit, but it doesn't kill it and eat it, for the most part. There's exceptions, but generally it doesn't. Why? Because it doesn't know. It doesn't know what it's supposed to do. It doesn't know that it can hunt its own food. It's just a squeak toy. All right, the creature's been domesticated and infantilized, and we have a huge population that's been domesticated and infantilized. And a subset of them, okay, a small group, we have 350 million people in this country. There is a subset of the population that has intergenerational welfare state dependency. Now, I don't have a problem with them. They don't know any better. And it's really sad to say about an adult human being that they don't know any better. They probably don't know any better. You think they have the sense of entitlement? All right, maybe it is a sense of entitlement. They don't know anything else but the entitlement. And it's unfortunate, but we've created this as a people, as American people, over the decades. We've created a infantilized, totally dependent, entitled population. Now, that's a subset. There's other people who are not entitled, who are just disabled or elderly, and they can't make ends meet, and they need help. And then some people who work full-time, and they just don't make enough money, and they need help. Now, I'm an anarchist, voluntarist, okay? I don't think the state should exist, which means if you ask me, should SNAP exist? No, I don't think the state should exist at all. But it is here, and right now we have a state machine that subsidizes food for people in need, for our domesticated population. And then there's people who work, right? You might earn $20 an hour, 30, 40, 50. You might make $100 an hour, whatever. Okay? You're still domesticated because you're still going to the grocery store to buy your food. Most people don't grow their own food. Most people don't find their own food. Okay? Where do peaches come from? Well, they come from a can, right? There's a song. Food comes from the grocery store. And like once a year, what happens? You go to one of the local farm festivals. Like I'm in New Hampshire, we have the Deerfield Fair and the Hopkinton Fair and all these other fairs, where people from the suburbs and the city go and harass these poor animals that are on display because they don't get to see farm animals up close, right? These poor animals get stressed out for a few days by people shoving hay in their face and trying to pet them when they don't want to be pet. All right, and like that's their only really contact with the food they get. That's it. They don't know. Most people don't know shit about growing food. Not even the rudiments. And I don't consider myself an expert gardener. Not even close. But, I can put, peas and beans on the ground and get a crop. People are domesticated. Now, if SNAP is shut off, does my paycheck go up? No, it doesn't. Because the U.S. government continues to inflate the currency. Right? Look, $40 billion for Argentina. Oh, look at that. Billions for foreign countries and their wars. Look at that. So, the currency gets inflated. The wealth gets shifted away from the American people. At least with EBT, some of that gets to come back to the poor in America. And yes, when they spend that, those dollars stimulate the local economy. So when SNAP gets shut off, there's a reverberation, and that's going to hurt. That may well hurt the jobs of other people. We'll see. So if you hate the SNAP program, the best thing you can do is actually form a community of people who are not so domesticated, who can grow food, who have their own food network, to ensure that your people don't end up on EBT. Because the people who can find food, in the end, and America's heading for collapse, there's no stopping it. You can put Band-Aids on it, but eventually the Band-Aids will rip and get festery and fall off. And you have to create a pocket of people, a pocket of the future, where you don't need the EBT. Because the mass of people, both on or not on EBT, just domesticated humans, are going to have a really, really hard time. And a lot of people are going to perish. And that's a fact. So you can create a community that's more resistant to perishing. I'm not saying you won't. All right, none of us gets through life alive. Life is 100% fatal. I said it in another video. But some of you might be able to live to a ripe old age if you play your cards right. I don't care if somebody is on SNAP. And I don't care what they spend it on. This whole restricting them from buying sodas and candy and whatnot. You know what? When you're poor, calories are king. It's not my job to be their nanny. If you know what? If a Snicker bar takes the edge off their misery, because being poor sucks, then so be it. Enjoy the Snicker bar. What do I care? Them being on EBT does not really affect me. It doesn't affect me at all. And I'm talking about like the hyper-domesticated, infantilized people who are entitled. Them getting food is probably the best thing you could do because it's a small expenditure to keep some pretty unpleasant people from rioting and committing crimes. Yes, you have a population that we're probably paying off to stop them from rioting. That's what our civilization's produced. That's what our domestication process has produced. That's fine. And I think they should have their Snicker bars if they want. And I don't care if California went the direction you can spend it at fast food restaurants. Okay. I don't care if you spend your EBT at restaurants. It's your problem. If you really want to waste your money that way, what do I care? You want to spend $30 at McD's? Okay. You're probably better off buying yourself a bag of rice and some canned veg and some canned meat to go with it. But you know what? That's your problem. That's your fucking problem if you want to waste your money at McD's. What do I care? It's not my problem. Like I said, I don't get a refund on my paycheck. My paycheck doesn't go up at all. My tax burden doesn't go up because the SNAP gets shut off. All right, SNAP gets shut off, and the money gets funneled somewhere else. And some other connected asshole gets the money. So long term, it would behoove you to learn how to produce your own food and have a genuine community of people, not just neighbors who smile and nod at each other, but actual community of people who look out for each other, who care about each other and help each other. And those communities, some of them will survive the collapse and be a pocket of the next iteration of humanity. There, I said my piece. My name's Steve. I got a boulder of shit with my name on it and a hill to climb. I'm out of here.